Welcome back. I have successfully fetched exchange 3 pairs, which is by swap from here. So we now have it here, all the pairs, the total pairs on by swap if I format it. So we now have all the pairs here. Okay, by swap is the exchange name. Okay, so now what you will have to do after fetching these pairs, remember you only have to fetch these pairs once, or maybe once in a month. Maybe you want to update your pairs fetch in case of there's new pairs, and while fetching you will start with the current index or the index that you stop, because new pairs that is being added to exchanges will start from the index. For example, if exchange has 2000 pairs, once new exchange is added, it will be 2001. That one is the new pair. Once new pairs is being added, it will be 2001. So that one is the new pair that is being added. So you always, if you are fetching pairs, you can save your pairs and then fetch it in maybe once in occasion. You will fetch in occasion in case liquidity of the token has been changed and you want to remove the tokens. And I will also show you how to manually remove a triangular pairs out of your triangular pair list. So now we have our tokens from our exchange 1 pancake swap, exchange 2 ape swap, and exchange 3 buy swap. What we have to do next is that we have to go to our, remember the settings I said I will explain later when we have our settings files. And we have our, okay, let me go to the actual settings that I input my parameters. Here we go. Okay, so on the pair fetcher settings, no, not the pair fetcher settings, sorry, on the structure pairs and structure mode, I said I will explain this section later. Structure pairs means on the start of this board, do you want to structure your triangular pairs? So what is structuring? Let me explain something in this regard. Let me open my Scali draw again. Okay, so for the structuring, let's assume that exchange 1, which is pancake swap, has this pair USDT BTCB, and exchange 2, which is ape swap, has USDT ETH, and exchange 3 buy swap has BTCB ETH, as well as exchange 1, it has this pair cake BUSD, 2 has wrap BNB, as well as this. So now we can't just go into these exchanges and start trading this and this and this. We will have to structure these pairs. Remember, we already fetched pairs like exchange 1 like this. We have fetched a lot of tons of pairs, and we fetched a lot of pairs in exchange 2, and almost we fetch all the pairs in exchange 2 and all the pairs in exchange 3. But we cannot trade on, we cannot arbitrage those pairs without structuring these pairs. So what our bot is going to do in this regard is that our bot is going to go to our first trade exchange, which is pancake swap. Remember when I mentioned the first trading exchange, which is pancake swap? So it's going to find what is the first pair there, and the first pair in this regard is USD BTCB. So it's going to go ahead to these two of those exchanges and find, is there any exchange that has BTCB or USD? Then it finds that there is exchange here that has BTCB, and it goes and pick that exchange from exchange 3 as the second pair, and it checks again, is there any exchange that has ETH and that has USDT, and it goes ahead to this exchange 2, which is ape swap, and is going to take this exchange, this pair. So now we now have triangular pairs. If we go from BUSD to BTCB, we were able to swap BTCB to ETH and we're able to swap that ETH back to USDT, and we get back our starting amount. And if we go from BTCB, if we start with BTCB and swap to USDT, we were able to find USDT here and swap to ETH, and we were able to find ETH here and swap back to our BTCB. So our exchange 1 is always our starting exchange in this regard. So in the structuring of pairs, our bot is going to go to exchange 1 again and find this pairs, this pair, cake BUSD, and it will check this if there is any exchange among these two exchanges that has cake or BUSD in it, and it checks that this has BUSD in it, and it takes the pairs. So we have a second pair. So we have our next pair, which is going to be cake grab BNB from exchange 3. So it picks it up and we have it here. So now we have our triangular pairs. So if we go from cake BUSD, we're able to swap our BUSD to wrap BNB and swap wrap BNB back to cake. And the same thing is applicable to the reverse. If we go from BUSD to wrap BNB and wrap BNB back to cake. So our bot is now going to structure these pairs and save it in a format we can easily go from pair to pair and swap. You understand? So that is what our structuring really means. So in the settings file, once you open the settings file, you are going to see structure, false or true. So if you want to structure this pair, you will have to set it to true. In our case, since we just fetch the pairs from exchanges, we have the pairs we have the pairs in the format we showed here, non-structured. So we are going to set it to true to structure our pairs in a way we can have it in this format that we're able to swap from exchanges to exchanges. And that is, it's if you are using one exchange, it's just going to find these pairs in one exchange, all these pairs in one exchange, which is maybe exchange 1, PancakeSwap in this regard, and structure the pairs in these formats. But if you use cross exchange, it's going to find it in other exchanges. So that is it. So I am going to structure the pairs. And how do I want to structure the pairs? I want to structure it synchronously or asynchronously. Synchronously means goes one after another, and asynchronously means goes plenty at a time. So let me explain what this means in a Scali draw illustration. So let's revise back this our pairs to the way we previously had it. Okay, yeah. So now we have our pairs non-structured. Now if we want to use synchronous structure, we are going to structure this first pair and then go ahead. Once we finish this, we go ahead and structure this second pair. But if we are using asynchronously, we are going to structure these two pairs at the same time. So the reason why you should use the decision on which one to use depends on how many pairs you have. If you have a whole lot of pairs, like in the case you will fetch all the pairs in PancakeSwap, you might have up to 9,000 pairs. And 9,000 pairs to go one by one to structure all those pairs is going to take a whole lot of time. It can even take you 2 days or 3 days to finish structuring, or even 4 days or less, I think. But it might take up to 2 days, I think. So for you to speed up that process, you will need to use asynchronous. But remember that asynchronous structuring mode consume a lot of processor because it is multitasking. It's using multi-processing to process the structuring. So if you use asynchronous, it will go 500 pairs. So let me explain what I mean. So let's assume exchange 1 has 1 million or 9,000 pairs being fetched. So from that 9,000, it will go 500 pairs and structure with other exchanges in a synchronous way. So 500 at a time, 500 at a time in exchange 1. 500 pairs and a